Right, thank you for joining us from the shade of the side of the courtyard. I'm here, and we will in future provide sunscreen. A good warning, Paul. Buongiorno. I'm here with the Minister for Broadcasting, Communications and the Digital Economy, and we are here predominantly to talk about the National Broadband Network and, of course, the Telstra Structural Separation Bill in the Senate. But I do, before making those statements, want to make a brief statement relating to North Korea and tensions on the Korean Peninsula. Of course, I am, and the government is deeply concerned by yesterday's artillery attack on the Republic of Korea, which is a great friend of Australia. I condemn this attack and I send my condolences to the people of Korea, the Republic of Korea, following this attack. Yesterday's events, of course, follow the incident in March where a North Korean submarine attacked a vessel of the South Korean Navy. This incident also follows recent reports that North Korea is developing a sophisticated uranium enrichment program in complete defiance of UN Security Council resolutions. Now, these series of events are deeply troubling. They threaten stability on the Korean Peninsula and in North Asia. And in the face of these provocations, the Republic of Korea has acted with a great deal of restraint. But in such a tense and heavily armed environment, the risk of miscalculation and escalation is ever present. The government calls on North Korea to abide by international norms of behaviour and to cease its hostile acts. We call on North Korea to abide by the 1953 Armistice Agreement, and we call on North Korea to make a genuine contribution to abandon its nuclear programs. It goes without saying the government is monitoring events in North Korea closely. During the course of the morning, members of the National Security Committee have been brought together for a briefing from our defence community and security agencies on the situation. We are in close consultation with our South Korean, Japanese and US partners, and we will also be urging China to bring what influence it can to bear on North Korea. It's important, we believe, for all nations, including our own, to stand up in complete condemnation of North Korea's aggression and to urge it to stop all hostile acts. Let me turn now to the question of the National Broadband Network and the Telstra Structural Separation Bill. I can confirm that the government today is releasing an important document to facilitate the passing of the Telecommunications Structural Separation Bill in the Senate. I want to reiterate, as I have in the Parliament over the last few days, that this bill will deliver historic reforms, a historic economic reform, and allow the rollout of high-speed broadband to go ahead. Securing the passage of this bill would secure that result, despite Tony Abbott's consistent determination to wreck the National Broadband Network. This reform will enable us to deliver high-speed broadband to homes, businesses, schools and hospitals while making sure it's available at a price that families can afford. This will mean lower prices, more choice and more innovation in service delivery to Australian households. Shortly, we will be releasing a 50-page document that summarises the NBN Co business case. I have determined to do this in consultation and joint work with the Minister after a series of detailed discussions with the independent senators, and of course we are continuing to engage closely with the crossbench members of the House of Representatives who supported the National Broadband Network and supported this bill. We've determined, following those discussions, that it is possible to publicly release carefully selected materials which answer some of their key questions and which allow them to explain to their constituents their decision-making process. But we have been very careful, and the material being released will not cause any market uncertainty and it does not relate to matters which are under Cabinet consideration. Now, of course, we could not release the whole National Broadband Network business case because of those questions of market uncertainty and Cabinet consideration. The document does not, for example, detail a government decision on the number of places retail providers will be able to plug into the NBN. As is publicly known, that decision will be made by Cabinet once the ACCC advice on the matter is received. Importantly, the document does expand on the information in the letter that has already been released from the National Broadband Network Company over the weekend. It confirms that the NBN will be built on a financially viable basis with affordable prices for customers. It confirms that prices will decrease over time as the markets become more and more competitive and more customers join the network. It confirms that NBN Co will receive a rate of return higher than the long-term bond rate. It confirms that the cost of constructing the NBN will be far less than originally thought due to the agreement between NBN Co and Telstra. The document is first being provided to the independent senators and members of the crossbenchers and then will be made publicly available. Can I say in conclusion, a major economic reform is never easy. It wasn't an easy decision to float the Australian dollar, but we did it. It wasn't an easy decision to start getting rid of tariffs in this country and engage in major tariff reform, but we did it. It wasn't easy to deregulate the country's financial industry, and structural separation is not an easy reform, but it's the right reform. We will continue today to be making that case in the Parliament.